We're talking about having a healthy relationship with food and drinks.
Great topic because it's such an important one. And honestly, I feel like starting with myself, many of us have had a toxic relationship with food and drink.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there are lots of toxic relationships with food, and that could be for many reasons. So what is having a healthy relationship with food and drinks about?
Having a healthy relationship with food and drink means being intentional to put real foods into your body, meaning healthy and nutritious food into your body, and focusing on all the things you can eat instead of the things you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so making a mind shift, right?
Yes, it really does start in the mind. Like so many things, we have to acknowledge that it starts in our thinking. And one, I guess for many people, sometimes people look at food as maybe a reward or maybe it's an addiction and not even thinking about it, just doing it. So it is important to be intentional about what we think and what we do.
Yeah, like to analyze it, right? Analyze. So we want to analyze our relationship with food.
I love that word. Yeah, that's a good.
Well, I analyze everything, right? So maybe that works for some of you out there who are wired that way, then that's a good way to think about it. Okay, so what's the differences between healthy and toxic? What are some of your ideas?
Great question. I think healthy, like we've just said, being intentional and then actually knowing what you're putting in your body. And then also just going back to the mind that we eat to live, not live to eat. And the more toxic view of that would be to live to eat versus eat to live. Yeah. Do you want to elaborate on what eat to live, not live to eat means more or less?
Yeah. And so I don't want to go too far into the other topics that we're going to talk about, but eating to live. So when I think about that, when I eat food, I do want to eat something that has nutrition in it, something that's nutritious for me, something that's going to give me vitamins and minerals. My focus is on these main food groups, and these are just my guidelines: whole grains, nuts, seeds, legumes, fruits, and vegetables. And I want to have those as real food, the less processed, the better.
Sounds very good. The less processed, the better. And all those that you mentioned, most of those are also part of the G bombs that we've talked about before. But yeah, I love how you began with you eat for nourishment and not just as a main source of pleasure. So we're not saying that we don't get pleasure out of what we eat and when we eat, but it shouldn't be your main source of pleasure or your reward, but taking it back to the basic necessity of we need fuel, and why not have the most nutritious fuel put into our body?
Yeah, because there are lots of chemicals, let's say, in foods, especially when we start talking about packaged snacks, lots of just flavor enhancers and things. And so I remember someone saying, yeah, I'm not addicted to food. I'm addicted to chemicals. So that was something to consider. Are you addicted to food, or are you addicted to the chemicals in the food?
That's a very deep comment.
So let's say I like shakes. I can mimic that same shake, and it's just as satisfying to me. Let's say a chocolate shake. So a chocolate shake would be a plant-based milk, some pure cocoa, not the squeeze stuff that you put over your ice cream, not the syrup or anything like that, but, fresh cocoa powder, and say bananas, and even some vanilla extract. Vanilla, well, they make it in powder now, so you can skip the extract. And a sweetener like maple syrup, a date, or something like that. And you have a delicious chocolate shake.
It sounds delicious. And that's a great point, that it's not that we are saying don't have the shakes that you used to really crave and love, but realize that you were craving it maybe because of the chemicals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now if you're making it at home with real ingredients, you have that same satisfying shake, but it's nutritious for you and delicious.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for listening. Click below to hear the full episode.